No! Come on.
No.
Did you see what happened?
No.
Are we all right? What are you? Ow.
Wait. Forget about us. This guy right here is a cheater. No. Hey, don't walk away. Get over here. This guy right here is a cheater. I took my necklace off before my match, and guess what? I looked for it. It was gone.
Find it, right?
You know where I found it? In your freaking hand, bro. You hit our pal. You hit our pal, Cooper Valentine, in the face.
Come on, yeah. What's up?
Whoa, guys, whoa.
He's playing tag team base. Come on, son. Hey, keep playing tag team base.
Finish your interview, chump.
As I was saying, I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make money.
I'm not wearing earplugs, so take it easy on me.
Okay.
You're facing the Cotton Candy Princess herself, Tiffany Avatar, for the title.
Best friend. My best friend.
So what are your thoughts going into this match?
What happened the last time?
You fucked her up.
I did. Real good.
Are we gonna expect more of the same?
What?
Are we gonna expect more of the same?
Oh, of course. What else would it be?
Alright, did you take your medicine today?
No?
I can tell. Alright, you better get back and sell your merch.
Okay.
Definitely gotta invest in some earbuds.
I just want to say that it was super rude of you to walk away from me earlier.
Talking to the New York State champion, you're gonna have to pay up.
Do you take kale?
Dude, goodbye.
Whipwreck, Cation, doesn't matter.
We'll see what happens, but it looks like we have a special guest.
Get my earplugs on.
No.
You was looking for Tina, and then you talk about people.
Dominate tonight, all right? The Dirty Deeds, they got nothing.
Darko is now the new Starlet champion. What's going on?
Hi, I am fearless princess, so why not team up?
All right, now just announced by Mr. Joel Maximo for February.
Finisher is called the Shadow Ban, and I was like, that's kind of.
Hold on. Let me speak. Okay?
But today I got a very special guest. I got the great.
Welcome to Beyond the Barricade. I'm your host, Papa Dank, and tonight I got a very special guest because we are on the road to FanFest 2 up in St. Louis, Missouri, where there'll be a ton of events, including Bell Apter's one-man show that Friday night, May 17th. May 18th is FanFest itself, followed by the St. Louis Hall of Fame, followed by live wrestling action. So make sure you get your tickets at SICW.org. But without further ado, let me bring to you my very special guest from SICW, the Big Texan himself.
How's it going, sir?
How are you, sir? Doing good, doing good.
I can't complain either. It's like you said, we're on the road, so man, just looking forward to it. It's just a couple weeks away.
It's a couple weeks away, man. Going on. What's up, John? A lot going on at SICW. We'll pull up the card real quick. There it is. Look at all those guests there, man. Now, what is your excitement going into this event? Like, what are you looking forward to the most?
Well, so I actually have a lot of personal connections with a few of these guests that's coming in. You know, that's one thing SICW is known for, about bringing in the legends, not to just like a fan fest, but you know, once every couple of months to his regular monthly shows. So a lot of these gentlemen have actually come in through the years, and I've been honored to be with SICW for probably 15 of those years. So I've actually met a few of these guys and, you know, hung out outside of wrestling, went to breakfast with these guys, went to dinner. And so I have personal connections to just about all these guys. So I'm just looking forward to running back into them, hanging out with them, you know, shooting the shit and, you know, just reconnecting.
All right. Now, last night you had this event.
Yeah, so last night was pretty crazy.
So give us a rundown of what happened.
Man, so just the ones that are on the card, you got the Top Guns. You got Brandon and Joey versus the LA Hustlers. Now, Brandon, he was a student from the Ace Academy. And, of course, I'm one of the teachers at the Ace Academy, which is ran by Cowboy Bob Orton Jr. So I mean that's just great on its own. But he's a up and comer because he's hitting the road a lot, going to OVW, going to different places in Missouri and Illinois and Tennessee. But they recently won those tag championships off of the LA Hustlers a couple of months back. So this was their return bout, to see if it was just a fluke or not. But last night they proved it wasn't a fluke. The Top Guns retained the belts. Of course, the LA Hustlers were pretty much bumming and tried to jump them at the end of the match, after it was already decided. So it's kind of crazy. That top pair right there, Kowalski, he's 450 pounds, and he was going against Joe Helms. And they used to be a tag team but they had a falling out. The guy in the middle is Lucky P. Larson. He was their manager. So this time around, if Joe Helms beat Kowalski, he was going to get 5 minutes alone with his ex-manager. And it was a great bout back and forth. Joe Helms did get the victory, so he did get the 5 minutes. However, so Lucky P. Larson has a nice stable of people. So Kowalski was just one of them. So the rest of the stable came out and just kind of jumped Joe Helms and pretty much took him out of the picture. So I don't know if he's going to be around for Mayfest or not because he took some damage. But I was in a tag match as well last night. I hate to say it, we were defeated as well. It was me and my tag partner is actually my brother-in-law.
Okay.
His name is Bobby D. And we are going against Attila Khan and a guy named Steve Fender. Now, both of those guys, they were trained by the late, great Harley Race. And so it was a big battle. And unfortunately, me and Steve went into the crowd and kind of got away from the action in the ring. Attila is known for foreign objects, and I guess he got Bobby with a foreign object, and he was able to get the pin because the ref didn't see it. So a lot of chaos, confusion in the middle of that match, but I'm sure we'll get another shot at them too down the line. But it's always great when you're wrestling and you're wrestling people that were trained by legends and they are known, because here in the Midwest, if you say you're a Harley guy, they know that you were trained really well. And to go against two Harley guys, matter of fact, Steve Fender, there's a promotion, it's AIWF, and they're worldwide. It's one of those things where it's kind of like the old system of the NWA, where you have the NWA, and then you have smaller territories that belong to them.
Right.
And I think that's what they're trying to get back to.
That's what they're trying to do now, right?
Right. So the AIWF, they have a national champion, and that is Steve Fender. And for SICW, he's also the Central States champion. So he holds 2 belts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, man, those are just 2 tough individuals. And we fought each other plenty of times. I'm sure down the road we'll meet again. But definitely a great battle.
Awesome. I can't help but notice Bruiser Brody in the background over there.
Right. I mean, that's what the Mayfest Fan Fest is all about right there, is Bruiser Brody.
I love it.
We do it once a year. It's a big battle royal. Last year I think we had like 30 people in it. I don't know if we're going to have quite that many people, but they're from all around. Because people from Texas, Florida, they call Herb and say, hey, I would love to be in that battle royal. And he'll bring them in until he gets that, those slots filled up. So last year we had a bunch of people from Florida, from Dory Funk School. We had some people from Texas. And it was great all over, because these are people that never mixed together before. You don't know them, and you're going over. Well, you're shooting for a trophy, and this trophy is a very big trophy, and it's dedicated to Bruiser Brody. And Barbara Goodish, his widow, actually gives you the trophy when you win it. So I mean, that's a little icing on the
That's
top.
awesome.
Like a little icing on the cake there.
I had the pleasure of having Barbara on the year before,
Oh,
before the last fan fest. Yeah,
sweet lady, sweet
yeah,
lady.
she's awesome, man. I was able to acquire a Bruiser Brody Power Town figure, but not the one that you're thinking of. They had the uncirculated version,
Oh,
which
no
was
way.
the first draft that came out that they didn't put out because they didn't like the quality of it for whatever reason. So they made the new batch. That's why it took longer for those initial batches to come out. So I was able to get the, the uncirculated version.
Really, really.
Yeah.
I heard. Me and you talked before. We're both
Yes.
figure people.
Yes.
So I heard those figures, like their arms and their legs, were known to break off.
Break off. Yeah.
That's why they. So that's kind of cool that you got
Yeah.
one of those.
It's in the same packaging as the other one, but it just has a little sticker that says uncirculated
Huh.
for display only because they know it'll break. But hey,
Uh-huh.
listen, I'm not gonna take it out of the box anyway. So
Right. Yeah, I had a friend because being in the St. Louis, we idolize Bruiser Brody, we idolize Harley Race, and I was bragging that I got those two, and I got Stan Hansen. Well, not Harley, he didn't have one, but Stan Hansen, and they were like, "Man, do you display those at all?" Or I was like, "No, they stay in the box. I might display the whole box with the figure inside, but no, that kind of stuff, I can't bear to open things."
yeah, I'm the same way, man.
Out in the wild, if you're at a flea market or a toy show or something like that, and you pick some up that's not in the package, by all means, I have a cabinet just full of just wrestling figurines, action figures, and I display those. But if I'm like buying things, via the internet or eBay or something like that, and I try to get it in the package, it stays in the package.
What are you looking for nowadays in figures? What's
Man,
on your list?
I am still trying to collect all the old Hasbros, all the old LJNs, but I'm kind of looking at the weird things too, because not a lot of people collected the thumb wrestlers, or if they did, they were all trashed. So I'm trying to collect, men on cards of the thumb wrestlers, and a lot of people don't know that the LJNs came in like a 4-inch figure as well. It was like 10 of them. Maybe 10 or 12, but so those are a little harder to find too. So plus they're a little bit cheaper to collect those versus the mint on card regular size, LJNs, those things.
Right.
I mean, you got to have a deep pocketbook to get those guys.
Now, are we gonna see any figures at people selling figures at the show?
Oh yeah. So last year I think they had 2 organizations that came in with their collections that they sell, but a lot of the legends have action figures that they sell as well.
Oh wow!
Even Tugboat. I missed out on this, but Tugboat's helmet was a Stormtroopers. Well, not Tugboat.
Yes,
but
yes. He was Shockmaster.
Shockmaster. So he actually sells those. The full size, Stormtrooper helmet that's all glitterified.
Wow.
And I was debating on it last year because when are you going to come across one of those?
Right.
Unless you meet them,
Right.
And I didn't pull the trigger on it, so I'm thinking I'm going to pull the trigger on it this year. So
Man.
we'll see. We'll see.
That's pretty cool. How much was he selling that for?
That's the thing. I think it was pretty expensive, and that's why I didn't pull the trigger.
Was it around the 200 range? You think?
I was thinking 150 for some strange reason. That's what sticks out, but still, for Stormtrooper's helmet,
Yeah.
glitterify. It's almost the same thing.
Right.
So,
Signed by him. Yeah, that'd be dope.
yeah, it's definitely one of the kind.
Yeah. Nowadays, I collect a bunch of different stuff, but I'm looking for the ultimate WWE figs. Those are my favorites. I just got a Yokozuna last week, and the Chase variant.
Oh, you did get the Chase?
Yeah, it was a Target exclusive. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been looking. I haven't been lucky yet.
Yeah. Did you get the regular one?
No, not yet. No, my Target literally. I hate my Target. I hate it and love it at the same time because they're very good at discounting their their toys. So I hit them up. I check in probably once a month just to see what they got and see what they got on clearance. Because a
Right.
lot of my collection just comes straight off the clearance. When they slash that stuff from 32 down to 12 or 15,
Yeah, they don't do a lot of that up here. Like I've never seen them do $12 on the Ultimate ones.
Oh,
I
well,
also picked
but
up a Piper and Bret Hart, which was a Walmart exclusive Monday Night Wars edition.
no.
Yeah, those are cool.
See, I have a Walmart, but I hate my Walmart. It's in part of the town that has no other grocery stores and no other shopping areas. So when you go in there, it is crowded, and it's kind of weird. Being a wrestler, being in front of a couple hundred people every time you go out.
Right.
And then you're stuck at a Walmart and you're just like suffocating, like get me out of here. So, even around Christmas time, man, I shoot in there for exactly what I'm going to purchase for someone and get the hell out.
Nice. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. All right. We've talked about everything but your career right now. So let's start off with how did you fall in love with professional wrestling?
It was actually my father's fault.
Oh,
So, he grew up in the time of wrestling at the Chase, which is
uh-huh.
very big in the Midwest and very secluded to St. Louis as well. If you lived in St. Louis and didn't watch wrestling at the Chase, you're like outcasted. Because back in the day, it was wrestling at the Chase, it was Roller Girls, and the Three Stooges. That was like, you only had 4 or 5 channels back in the day, so
That's true.
you're secluded to that stuff. And so when I came along, it was the reruns, or like every few years they do a rebroadcasting or a look back or something.
Yeah.
And so we would watch that together. And he was a big WWF guy. And so anytime it was on, me and him and my older brother, we would just sit there and watch wrestling. And, my dad had the same, I tell this story all the time. My dad had the same look as Hulk Hogan. He was bald on top, grew his hair out long around the sides and the back.
Uh-huh.
And he was a machinist for a living. So he swung a hammer. So
Oh,
he
wow.
had the big pythons,
Yeah.
And it was almost like as a kid, you're looking like, Dad, is Hulk Hogan? Is that you? Is that, one of those things.
All right.
So yeah, Hulk Hogan was my go-to guy, the root behind. And, eventually, I went another route. I started working on cars for a living, became a mechanic. And in one of the shops I was working at, a wrestler came in, just a local wrestler. But at some point in time, he had made it to the WWF because it was the old black and white still photos with the WWF logo on the bottom.
Uh-huh.
And
Yes.
he was talking to me about, man, you're a pretty big guy. Have you ever thought about wrestling?
Did I lose Big Texan or did I lose my signal? I can't tell which is which. Yikes. Somebody tell me if I lost my signal or I lost Big Texan. All right, guys. I think I lost Big Texan. My signal seems to be good right now. So hopefully he'll come back. But while we're waiting, oh, there he is.
I don't know.
I didn't know if it was me or you. I'm like, well, let me check.
Well, I tell you to be honest, it's supposed to be storming pretty good, so I don't know if I'm getting hit by the weather yet or
Right.
what. But yeah, so I don't know what part you cut off on, but a mechanic, a wrestler comes in, offers to train me.
Gotcha.
And I go through his training, and it was kind of weird because where he was training us, it was in secret because there was another promotion that had the training facility, and he kind of snuck us into this place because the ring was already set up and everything. And I went through his training, and then the promotion that actually owned the building and owned the ring realized evidently he had worked for this promotion and they got outed. And he was still, I guess he still had a key to the building, so he would let his wrestlers in and train you. And they got wind of it, kicked him out, and asked me to stay because of my size. And I just kind of got into it from there, so I've been wrestling. I think I'm going on my 23rd or 24th year or something like that.
Oh, wow. Tell me about, I don't know if you probably don't remember your first match you had, do you?
I do.
All right, let's talk about it.
Well, so anytime you're doing something for the first time, you're nervous, you're scared, and so I wore a mask because all through my training I would smile and laugh too much, and they said that there's no way that we can make you this big heel of a guy and you sit there and laugh and smile through the whole match. So they put a mask on me, and I was going by the Texas Longhorn. And eventually it developed into a tag team. But when I first went out there, so I'm having this match, and I'm just, you're not focusing on the crowd. You're just trying to focus on your opponent and try to do what you know how to do. And my wife, she was there. And after the match, first thing I do is text her, how was it? She goes, it looked great, but the singlet you wore, every time you bent over, you can see your butt. Because the singlet was so thin. So it was like I was mooning the crowd the whole time that I ever bent over and picked up someone or slammed them or whatever.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. So that singlet had to go, and I think I ended up putting on pants too in the outfit just to make sure that thing never happened again.
Nice. What was the best advice you would say that somebody gave you that you still carry with you to this day?
I don't know if it was advice or living, going through what he did. Greg Valentine was the first legend that I ever was able to wrestle. And, he's going to be at the Fan Fest too. So I bring it up to him a few times a year because he's come through a couple times since then. But as a rookie or a greenhorn, you got to basically, when you have a match with a legend or any kind of veteran, you listen to that vet. And, he's the one that's going to run the match. And, being a greenhorn, I went up to him, shook his hand, thanked him for coming in, telling him it was an honor for me to be able to wrestle him. What would you like to do in the match? And he first kind of told me, I'll come up with something later, give me some space and stuff. And so went back, and you're all nervous, man, I'm wrestling this legend, you watch him on TV, and finally I was like, all right, it's been some time. Let me go back up. I said, all right, sir, just, we're like 2 matches away. Is there anything you want to talk about or anything like that? And he rattled off this match. And so in my head, I'm trying to relearn it and learn it. And we go out there, and we didn't do anything he said. It's like he turned the whole script right around on it.
He changed it.
It was still a great match, but I learned just from that a lot of times the best matches come unscripted and come untalked about. Because back then in their days, most of the time it was still so strict that Babies was in one locker room, Heels was in the other. And you worked it out in the ring. And that's what he was teaching me, basically. And from that point, you might hit a couple buttons of what you want to do, but the rest, it's on the fly. and it always turns out to be the better match, and so I wouldn't say that he told me that, but I learned from him that,
Okay, all right, all right. What has been the best rib story that has happened to you?
Oh man, so this is another embarrassing moment, but so once the Texas Longhorn, gimmick just went away, I was part of guerrilla warfare, and again, I was still in a mask because I still like to smile and laugh, but I wore these army fatigues and a singlet, and during the match, now I would rip these army fatigues, very often. And I had so many pairs, and I got good at sewing them up and then changing out pairs, but I couldn't find another pair of army fatigues. So I went with like this camping gear,
Right.
like deer pants, and they're still camouflaged. But they weren't like belt looped together or a zipper or anything. It was one of those stretchy strings that you just kind of tied the loop in.
Right.
And my opponent got wind of that, and like halfway through the match, he just pulled pulled my pants down to my ankles.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, but I also trained in the old school ways, so a lot of times, other stuff would happen, like guys would be taking a shower or something, and someone fill up a cup of pee or something and dump it in the shower with them, or
Oh no.
most of the time, this building that we always worked out of, this wasn't for SICW. This was for another promotion, but it was the locker room was on the second story. The ring was on the first floor. So a lot of guys would take someone's boots and throw them out the window.
Right.
Yeah. Or, it's just stupid shit, but
That's funny.
yeah. It's always, for a good laugh.
That's good stuff, man. All right, tell me about your toughest match to date. Who was your opponent, and why was it so difficult for you to get through the match?
Well, so that would be the same guy that I brought up earlier. His name is Attila Khan.
Okay.
He's like, let's see. I'm trying to think of the guy's name that he's more like. He fought Brody so many times. Abdullah the Butcher.
Abdullah.
Yeah, so it's like a Abdullah the Butcher type of character. And you know how Abdullah would always whip out a fork from somewhere, and he would stab you in the head with it.
Yes.
Bust you open. And so it's just like him. And so, matter of fact, at the first Fan Fest last year, he was the one that was the SICW champion.
Oh,
and
wow.
I had chased him down for like a year going up to that show.
Uh-huh.
And so it was always a battle. Someone was always getting busted open. Some foreign object was always used. And then that night, it was a Texas death match. It was a match that I actually got to call. It was a stipulation of a tag team match we had. And if my tag team won, I was able to call what type of match we were going to have.
Right.
So it was a Texas death match. But pretty much means anything goes, except for when you pin your opponent, they have 10 seconds to stand back up. And if they don't stand back up, then you're considered the winner.
Right.
So it doesn't matter how many times you pin each other. It's just, if you don't get up and stand, then you're done. And man, we went all over that ring, outside the ring. He got to use his fork. I have a bull rope that I use, so we did a miniature bull rope match in the middle of this thing. Brandon Irons, chairs. I mean, it was just
wow.
a big battle. And I would say, again, he's trained by Harley Race, so it was, a toughest opponent because he is a hard knocks opponent, just like Harley was, And I just so happened to be lucky that night and got the pin, and he wasn't able to stand, so I was declared the SICW champion. So.
Wow. Did you get a chance to meet Harley Race?
So I did. And matter of fact, there was my tag team partner of mine. He was named Waco. Of course, Big Texan, little Waco. He was half my size, but we were a tag team.
Uh-huh.
and we had this match, and I think it might have been Steve Fender and another a guy. You know, it was a tag match, and Harley came out with Steve Fender. You know, since he trained Steve Fender, he came out with him. And Waco, poor Waco, he got in Harley's face, and Harley just socked him really good.
Oh,
yeah, and but I tell you, after the fact, Harley Race was like, he was so cool to hang out with, because in our locker room for SICW, there's the locker room, and then there's a room that has a big table in it, and that's where like the decisions get made, and then you have the part that has the actual ring and the show and everything.
right.
And one of the times, Harley came in a few times for us. One of the times, Harley was sitting down at this table, and there's no one in that room with him. And I like to take advantage. So if there's a legend in the house, I'm going to pick his brain.
Right.
I'm going to try to learn some sort of knowledge or something about him. I love to read, so I read a lot of autobiographies.
Okay.
And I just went in there and I just started talking to him. I said, you know, I'm a big fan, you know, this and that. Started talking, and then I asked him, I said, what's your favorite place that you ever wrestled? And he told me Japan. And he said the story behind that is, in Japan back in the day, when you go out there and wrestle, a lot of times nowadays you play off the crowd, or even back then you played off the crowd. You know, if the crowd was into a certain spot and the heel was getting his butt whipped, you know, you played off of that.
Right.
But he said in Japan, you could hear a needle drop because they were so quiet. And you had to be really sure of yourself that you're working the match the way it needs to be worked, because at the end of the match, they're either going to jump up and cheer for you or boo you. And he said that he loved the challenge of being able to work the match he wanted to work and get the result at the end, and not the result during the match. You know?
That's a pretty good story.
Stuff like that. I mean, I love hearing the stories from these legends.
That is awesome.
I got a dog, yeah.
You got the doggy there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great that you were able to hang around and learn some stuff from all the legends that we all grew up in the business.
Oh,
that's awesome. Did you ever have an interaction with the Von Erichs?
You know, so Kevin came through once, and then Kevin actually got inducted into the St. Louis Hall of Fame, and he couldn't make it.
Okay.
So actually, I think it was Kevin and Kerry both got inducted into the Hall of Fame, and their daughters came in to accept the plaques for him.
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah, Kerry's daughter came in. I want to say it was Kevin's daughter too, because I think he's got the two boys and a daughter, but they came in as well. So I kind of got to, you know, talk to Kevin, and then later on talk to Kerry's daughter and the other daughter. So I mean, you know, growing up, I really enjoyed Kerry. To me, Kerry was the better Ultimate Warrior. You know, Ultimate Warrior had the looks and, you know, the gun ho was shaking, but growing up, I was able to watch a bit of WCCW, and then to see him make it to WWF.
Right.
You know, to me, that was great. I really love the Texas Tornado, and that's, you know, watching the St. Louis, Wrestling at the Chase, the Von Erichs were constantly in St. Louis wrestling. Matter of fact, Kerry was born 2 cities over in Collinsville. Well, they lived in Collinsville. He was born here in Belleville, which is my home city. So it's still, you know, good connections.
That's awesome. Oh, man, that's a great story. Did you ever see, I don't know if we talked about this last time you were on, the Iron Claw film?
Oh, yes.
What are your thoughts on it?
It's a mix. You know, I knew going into that movie that it was loosely based off of their life story. You know, it wasn't a biography.
Right.
And it shows that it wasn't a biography. I mean, it's a great story about the love of brothers and family bond.
Right.
But they did get some things wrong. Because I love to read, so and I love the DVDs that they have. WWE put out one as well, but then you have a couple of other ones that you can see. And I love YouTube, so I love research and stuff. And some things were wrong. Especially since I told you I love Kerry, the guy who played Kerry, great guy, but he was very smaller compared to Kevin's character.
Right.
And some of the stories about how he just won the NWA heavyweight belt, and then later that night is the night that he got in the motorcycle accident and lost his leg, and how in the movie it was like up higher versus it was just an ankle thing,
right.
So, and then they totally skipped a brother.
They did.
So, but going into that movie, already knowing that it was just based off of, I knew some things were going to be off. But great movie, tells a great story. And if you didn't know, if you weren't a fan of wrestling or a fan of the Von Erichs and followed them, man, it was an A+ movie.
Yeah.
But if you knew the little finer details, then you kind of nitpicked it, and I found myself nitpicking it a little bit harder than I should have. But
okay.
How'd you think about it?
I mean, I knew, of course, I knew the story of the Von Erichs. I knew they left out a brother. But as an overall, like you said, an overall general film that's loosely based on their life, I thought I was great. It really tugged at me, especially the brother's part. Yeah, at the end when he said, I used to be a brother. I know the feeling. I used to be a brother too. So
yeah,
it really hit me hard in the movie there. I didn't expect it to, but it did.
Yeah. I have to admit, I almost teared up, and when I say almost, I probably did have a couple tears, but we won't, say that. So
right. Okay, awesome, man. We got a lot of good stories, man, and I can't wait to meet you in person. Let everybody know where they can follow you.
Man, all my socials are just related to my name. It's Jim, the Big Texan. Hofarth is everywhere. Instagram, YouTube. I'm part of a podcast group too called the Squared Ring podcast, and we
awesome.
Time to time we get some legends coming in. Speaking of the Iron Claw, James Beard is a referee for WCCW. And was in that movie most of the time when you see the actual wrestling matches. He was the referee in there.
Awesome.
And they kind of took some advice from him too, because he was great friends with Kevin and all the Von Erichs, but he was with Kevin even after the passings of the brothers and the father, because he was on our podcast. He talking about how he was just with Fritz just like a week or two so before he passed. And he's going to be at the Fan Fest too, so he's a awesome. Great guy to meet. And man, so I can't wait for this Fan Fest.
Me too, man. Fan Fest 2 in St. Louis on May 17th through the 18th. You got Bill Apter's one-man show. May 17th. On the 18th is actual Fan Fest, followed by the St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame, followed by live wrestling action, including the Battle Royal for the Bruiser Brody Cup. Make sure you get to SICW.org to get your tickets for these events. And also check out SICW in general on YouTube, where you can also see the Papa Dank commercial running with their programming. Want to thank them very much. And definitely want to thank them. Next up for me is Rise of the Titans for Titan Championship Wrestling. They will be filming their show, Danger Zone, that day, where you can also catch the Papa Dank commercial on their programming.
Nice.
On that day, or on their channel, really. Coming up for me for SICW, actually, tomorrow, man. I got this guy right here, Stephen E.
Oh, I feel sorry for you. So he is the manager of Attila Khan.
Right. I hope he brings Attila with him. I don't know, man. I hope Attila comes on.
So there's an inside thing going on where Stephen E. has got, he's loaded. He's got money. And he's trying to buy SICW from Herb Simmons.
Right.
And Herb's been in the business 51 years. Actually, I think it just might have been 52 last month. And so there was always talks of Herb, might be a little burnt out. Maybe he just wants to retire from the business.
Right.
And he was like, well, hell, if you're going to retire, let me buy it. And then he starts bringing in all these monsters, Attila Khan, there's Paintneers, there's Uber Destroyer, all these monster guys. And everyone's like, well, wait a minute here. If this guy buys the company from Herb Simmons, and this is what he deals with, just imagine what this company is going to turn into. And so a lot of us, like we have Gary Jackson, my brother-in-law, which is Bobby D. We have other guys like Gil Rogers. We're all trying to form like a group to go after these guys. But, he brings in Haku. He brings in Barbarian, for his team. So it's just different kinds of, so it's a big power struggle, but we have some classic guys named Ron Powers. He's been in WCW, he's been in WWE. Even Gary Jackson, he was in WCW, WWE, and a guy named Danny Boy, and they're part of the main group that's really focused on trying to get him kicked out of this business, or at least this company. So,
oh man, I can't wait to hear this and much more from Steve.
Yeah, you're in trouble now. Just put him on mute. That'd be great.
All right. Also coming on this week is Luke Justice coming on Wednesday. I don't know if you know Luke. You know Luke?
I know Luke.
All right.
Yeah, he's another guy that came in for SICW, worked a few matches, and I actually since then I like to follow the people to come in because they're all from all parts of the world, and he mainly focuses in like the Tennessee area.
Right.
And so I've watched a few of his matches too. He's like a third or fourth generation wrestler.
Awesome. I can't wait to hear his stories coming this Wednesday.
Yes.
Also on Wednesday from Titan Championship Wrestling, SP Anderson and Big Jeff Noyes, who very few people can pick him up and slam him. You think the Big Texan can pick him up and slam him?
Man, I can pick up anyone.
How about Andre the Giant? You think you're going to pick up Andre?
Well. So I went to Iowa, Waterloo, Iowa last year, and there's a big display of a whole bunch of Andre stuff. And there's a picture of me standing with a life-size photo of Andre. He's like 2 heads bigger than me, and then they had his hand mold. And I put my hand in there, and I got a big hand. I'm a big guy, and he just dwarfs my hand.
Wow.
So he might be the one that maybe I couldn't do, but but Harley Race was able to do it, and Harley, I'm taller than Harley, so maybe you never know.
Maybe. I did a convention not too long ago, and they had artifacts as well. They had Andre's like jacket. Like his checkered jacket. I'm like, man, that thing is huge.
Yeah, they say that you could fit like one of those $50 coins through his rings.
That's crazy.
Being on TV, I don't think did him justice enough, because when he went against guys like the Stud and Hulk Hogan, which are pretty tall guys on their own.
Right.
But if you see the stuff that he wore, or see the chair that he would sit in, and then, there's a picture that I have in my phone of him holding a can of beer, but you wouldn't know that because you can't see the beer.
Right. All you see is the hand.
Yeah, all you see is his hand. But he's sitting next to a bar on a stool, and he's acting like he's gonna take a drink. I mean, because he was, but you just couldn't see the beer. So.
Awesome stuff. Just want to remind all professional wrestlers in the Northeast, next Saturday also the SAT, the Maximo Brothers, will be doing a wrestling seminar for only $40. You can register and get some information and some training from the SATs.
Man, that's awesome too.
Those are my friends.
Anyone who's trying to get better in this business. I've been in the business a long time, and I learn stuff still to this day. 'Cause a lot of my students, we allow them to roam around different companies and bring things back, and then, as we're teaching them, and some of the stuff, it's funny because Bob has one name for a move. I'll call it someone else, and then the students will call it a different name, but it's the same damn move. But having the students come in and they say, hey, can I do this with a twist, or can I do this, let's just say from the top rope instead of the second rope.
Right.
They're all putting little, twists and things to these moves, and it just, so even I learned from my students, just as much as they learn from me. So anytime there's a seminar around, I tell my students, go for it.
Go for it.
Tommy Rich came through, and we did a seminar together. Let's see, Dan Severin came through. We did, I had all my students go do his seminar, and I kind of helped coach him on what he wanted to get done. And both those gentlemen, of course, are going to be at this show on May 18th at the Fan Fest. Great guys. Like I said, a lot of these guys I have personal relationships with, and Tommy Rich, man. If you go to the bar at that Aviator Hotel that night, I'm sure you're going to see Tommy Rich there.
Yeah, I'll be there.
And, I'm sure he'll drink you under the table.
Are you going to be there that night?
Oh, yes. I'm going to stay in that hotel the same, Friday night, Saturday night.
So we'll hang out for a little bit. I'm staying down the street at the Marriott.
Oh, okay. Yes.
But I'll come down and hang out with you guys if you want.
Oh, yeah. Last year, I found myself in a Haku's room, and Haku is he's like a brother to all of us because he's come in so many times. Not even being on the show, he'll just come in and hang out with Herb, and then we all go out to dinner. We all, he stays over. We all meet up for breakfast. Right. He's just a great guy overall. I never piss him off, because you don't want to be part of that whole Haku story legend stuff.
That's right.
So I only know his sweet side.
But, that's the best side to be on.
But yeah, so last year we ended up hanging out in his hotel room, and might have been drinking some. I won't confirm anything, but yeah, so it was definitely an all-nighter. And even when like Friday, a lot of the legends came in on Friday, and we, stayed up and partied with them. And even when I decided, okay, it's like 4 a.m, we got this long day tomorrow. Let's, I'm going to excuse myself. And I made it back to my hotel room. I found out that a lot of them got together and went down to where the ring was set up and just stayed out there and drank some more. I'm thinking, holy cow. So.
Well, we'll see what happens, Big Texan.
Yes, definitely.
All right, everybody. I will be filming Papa Dick vlogs at FanFest 2, the debut episode. I'm sure it'll be an extra size vlog that I may have to split into 2 or 3 parts. We'll see how it goes, but make sure you get your tickets for FanFest 2 coming up. Everybody have a good night. I'll be back with Stephen E. tomorrow. Big Texan, just hold on. Don't leave just yet. Everybody else have a good night. FanFest 2 coming up.